No idea why that stopped. I have no idea.
Bro.
But, it's one of those things where it stops, where we were talking about how, Jake is refusing to dog sit for me, and it's just really hurtful.
Dude.
And I've thought about it for a long time. I think I should call the advocates.
While the injury attorneys at the Advocates can't actually prevent you from being in a cycling accident, they will be by your side to support you following your accident. Our legal services won't cost you a dime out of pocket. So when you need an injury attorney, call us. We're the Advocates, your Utah personal injury attorneys. You didn't deserve to be in an accident, but you do deserve an advocate.
And I don't know what I ever did to your dog, but you don't even, give a rip about my dog. Like, you know what I mean, dog?
Yeah, dog.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't go to plan, but pimp's got a pimp on the Monty Show. Hello. Happy Tuesday to you. Hope you are well. Thanks for being here. As always, we are presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. This Friday, we are just now 3 days away from your opportunity to donate bikes and bike parts, scooters, any kind of bicycle-related item. You got 2 wheels, let's do it at The Advocates in Murray, Utah on Saturday. If you're one of our great Utahns, make sure you get to The Advocates. Donate your bike this Friday. And if you've been injured in an accident, did you get hurt at work yesterday? Did you get in a car accident? Did you get hit while you were riding your bike over the weekend? You didn't deserve to get into that accident. You certainly should not have to reach into your pocket to pay for representation to get what you deserve. No, friends. At The Advocates, you never pay out of pocket. You have no consultation fees. You have no big retainers. In fact, you can chat with an injury attorney live online right now, and it won't cost you a dime. TheAdvocates.com. Hello, Jake.
Hello.
We were joshing around about dog sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just trust anybody? Well, you don't have a dog. Should I just trust anybody to watch my dog?
No, probably not.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably, and we'll talk about kids and dogs coming up because nobody's popping out babies. AI is plotting to murder us. We'll talk about that. But speaking of murder, it's an awkward transition in North Carolina trying to blow up the ACC, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the only thing I can think of. And let me ask you, do you believe that North Carolina is trying to end the ACC? It's a very interesting conversation because, as we noted just on the show yesterday, North Carolina, I've been told repeatedly, and I strongly believe, that North Carolina represents a tipping point in the battle to keep alive or end the ACC grant of rights. North Carolina carries a lot of water in that ACC town, and if they go, Duke is almost certainly to go with them. This represents a significant change, as Brett McMurphy from the Action Network reported yesterday, that UNC trustee Dave Boliek made a public statement where he ripped the ACC's lack of revenue generation and essentially pointed to the fact that North Carolina's got to take immediate action to preserve their athletic viability. Is he just using other language, Jake, to say that North Carolina may well be on their way out of the ACC conference?
I mean, there's no question that he's certainly threatening that. I think that's the, without saying it, he's saying, hey, yeah, we've been having conversations. We obviously, as a power brand in college athletics, know people and have relationships. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely undertones of threatening to leave, threatening to try to blow up the grant of rights. But again, I'm going to keep saying it, whether it's UNC or Florida State, the grant of rights is the grant of rights. We can go round and round and do hours and hours and hours of shows on whether they can break it or not. They can't break it. You're not going to break it. That's not the correct path to go if you want to change your situation. And this is the part of the conversation where we graduate from, hey, it's Florida State and Clemson trying to do things, to now we get to talk about UNC and most likely Duke trying to do things. And I think that's the part where the ACC needs to be concerned, because UNC and Duke have power. They have legitimate and real tangible power. And whether it's with ESPN or whether it's with, the Big Ten, like, they will find a way through relationships to get done what they need to get done. And the only question really is timeline, because those things don't typically happen quickly. Typically, this is going to be a several year process, if you will. And I don't even know what that would look like, given the grant of rights is what the grant of rights is. So I think that this was inevitable, but I think the most interesting part of this statement and this tweet yesterday is just the timing of it. You chose now to put out a statement saying that, UNC's got to do whatever it can do to save its athletic department, as if its athletic department's going to burn to the ground with such little revenue in the ACC. The UNC is making loads of money. Now, they're not making Big Ten money, right? And I understand that's frustrating to them. But the suffering poverty argument out of UNC is not necessarily accurate. They're going to be fine.
I don't think they're crying poor, but they are crying with a lack of competitiveness financially. And I think, is competitiveness the way to say that? Like, they are unable to compete with their SEC competitors. They are watching the SEC, by the minute, it seems, become a better basketball conference, or close to the ACC. Now, you're not, in my opinion, in danger of being better than the ACC next year. But North Carolina, that's a school that fancies itself a basketball school that wants to play high-level football. And you just had Drake May drafted number 2, and you are dealing with financial limitations. I would also remind you that David Boliek talked about the fact that they're going to have to face some very difficult cuts at North Carolina to keep their athletic department competitive. And that is the world we live in. What's more important, making athletic cuts, or is it more important to compete athletically? So should you spend less because you're making less, or should you cut educational money and compete more on the field and the court? And I think it's ridiculous to think that you're going to cut academic money to be more competitive athletically. But then again, isn't that exactly the conversation we seemingly have weekly on this show?
Yeah, I mean, that's the philosophical conversation that I think every school, whether, you're in the ACC or you're in the SEC, you have to be clear on. Are you someone that is willing to take risk in your athletic department for the opportunity to go and win? Because that's how it should be phrased, right? Like, it should be phrased for the opportunity to play the game to potentially win. Because even if you get to the game you want to get to, there's no guarantee that you're going to win that game and realize everything that you were hoping to realize. And that's where I say, look, I get it. The SEC and the Big Ten are making a lot of money right now. But part of this is also on folks like UNC. You made a bad decision when you signed that grant of rights for a second time. The first time, I get it, right? You needed to get the grant of rights done. Like, that was pretty standard stuff. But when you renewed that grant of rights, and you renewed it for such a long time, I guess you just had no thought to, hey, well, if we're locked into this agreement, which we feel really good about at the date of signing, should we have any consideration of the idea that maybe the landscape's going to change over the next 10 to 12 years, and maybe we shouldn't sign an agreement that locks us in for that long?
But I think there were a lot of people with their heads in the sand. I think there were a lot of people that thought, it's college football, where's it going to go, right? And I think we all now know that it's going to hell in a handbasket. And I think this idea that you have a significant voice at North Carolina calling out the ACC's lack of revenue, I think speaks directly to the future of this conference. And I think this is the first time we'll say, or at least that I'll say, this is a real now existential crisis for the ACC. Without North Carolina, this conference does not exist. And I continue to tell you the lifeblood, the heartbeat of the ACC, that's right, it's Tobacco Road. And if North Carolina and Duke are out and they are a package deal, you can assume that you're going to get North Carolina State. You can assume already that Clemson and Florida State are in that. That's 5 teams right there. And I think if you put Louisville and Miami in that conversation, that's 7 teams right there. Like, there's real momentum now. There is real momentum now where you can build a coalition of enough members of this conference to break that grant of rights. Is this a shot over the bow? I don't know. Is this an accidental statement? No, it is not. These statements are not accidental.
Mm-hmm.
You are making public statements about a lack of revenue purposefully. You are making these kind of statements to drive an agenda, to drive a final outcome. And I think that final outcome is very clearly North Carolina wants to pull more money, deservedly so. And I think that there's only 2 ways you do that. Other members of this conference leave, the grant of rights is unchanged, and you take a lion's share of the revenue. Or the conference disintegrates, you wind up in the Big Ten with Duke, and you're making more money.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. And the Big Ten, as we've told you before, would love to add North Carolina and Duke and pay them full freight because they desperately need help in the basketball department. Like the Big Ten basketball has struggled, and a lot of it is Michigan's struggles, frankly. But you're looking at the end of an era in East Lansing at Michigan State with Tom Izzo. You are looking at an Indiana program that needs to sustain excellence and has not for some time. I mean, you simply have now these incoming 4 members. The Pac-12 has not been a great conference. USC and UCLA have struggled financially and otherwise with UCLA for years now. And the question is, how does the Big Ten get better in basketball? Well, adding North Carolina and Duke, I think, accomplishes that.
Yeah, and I also think to that end, like, what is the Big Ten's willingness to get after the ACC? Because you remember the Big Ten was real careful with the Pac-12, right? Like, hey, we don't want to be seen to be rating conferences. We don't want to be seen to, be hurting other conferences. But I think the times have changed a little bit. I don't necessarily know that the Big Ten has a choice. I mean, if you're the Big Ten, you're sitting here waiting for your next opportunity. Not to say that your mission is to destroy the ACC, but
we're talking about Carolina and Duke.
I know, and that's the thing. The reality is like, if they're sitting there available, you have to go and get them. And that's the unfortunate side of the process. Like, I'm not going to sit here and blame the Big Ten or the SEC for swallowing up these other brands that, want to get out and want to do better for themselves. But I have a real hard time with, hey, like, and you're not wrong. Everybody had their head in the sand, but that's not a cop-out for, hey, you signed an agreement and now you don't like that agreement because other conferences have done better business than you and your conference have done. And I think that's the hard part, is like, we're sitting here talking about UNC being upset that they're not making as much money as other conferences. We're not talking about, hey, like, you're not going to be able to pay your bills next month. And that's the hard part with college athletics right now.
To a certain extent, I think we are talking about that. I would argue that point. I think when we look at these lawsuits, I think when we look at the lack of football funding at North Carolina, which is self-inflicted, obviously, you look at, in totality, the lack of flexibility that ACC schools are dealing with, and you quickly start to understand that you are standing still in the ACC. The Big Ten is moving forward. The SEC is moving forward. The Big 12 is moving forward. You're not moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
You're moving backward. What's the common denominator with the other 3 conferences? They all got new grant of rights that pay them significantly more than they were making. and they have stability and they have unity. You do not have that in the ACC. You have just the opposite. That's why I say I do think that the ACC had their head in the sand for a long time. I think the ACC is very different than the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 had an expiring grant of rights, but the infighting is no different.
Mm-hmm.
The vitriol is no different. The arrogance is no different. I think the only difference is there is a path to melting this conference down. And if we continue to get heat from the trustees at North Carolina, it's simply a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next indicator? Are you telling me UNC athletic director Bubba Cunningham would say something like this publicly? I highly doubt that.
Yeah,
I highly doubt.
It's not necessary for him,
Yeah,
I guess.
he's not going to dump a can of gasoline out in the fire here. I just don't know what the upside of that for Carolina is. I do believe that you are going to see North Carolina at some point make a significant move. Is that joining a lawsuit? Could be. I don't know what their other options would be, but now we're on the clock. Now we are waiting, because if North Carolina is saying this publicly, they've talked about it privately amongst many, many people. And again, I can only tell you, months ago, or a month ago, 6 weeks ago, we told you that Brett Yormark has been aggressively marketing, and he has spoken to, or his emissaries have spoken to, Duke and Carolina,
Right,
and a lot of other people in that conference. I know the Big 12 holds Louisville in very high regard.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that they have reached out to others.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense if you're Brett Yormark, right? I mean, you see what's on the horizon. You do. Hey, there's some opportunity here, and even if we don't get UNC and Duke, right? Even if maybe, we're not their first choice, if we can pick up Louisville, let's say, or we can pick up, the second cut of the best ACC talent, we're going to take that all day. And I think that for the Big 12, that's the kind of splash that you need to be making, because if you're sitting there in the SEC looking at this, you're pretty happy with where you're sitting. I feel like maybe, you'd be interested in adding, I guess, Florida State or, a couple of schools, but I don't think the SEC is like, man, we got to add and add and add. They're sitting here saying, how do we sustain and keep growing at a controlled, and reasonable pace, because we're leading and all we got to do is keep doing what we've been doing and we're going to be in a great spot. How does, frankly, for the SEC, I think the bigger question is how does someone like Kalen DeBoer keep Alabama in the college football playoff conversation? How do you keep that brand in Georgia battling? How do you, how does Lane Train and the SIP, get it going a little bit better? So that's why I say, I think the SEC is just over here cooking. And it's like, hey, the Big Ten's waiting to add UNC and Duke. And then you've got the Big 12 sitting here saying, okay, well, what opportunity do we have? How can we benefit from this?
You have an SEC conference that you have Texas A&M that spent tens of millions of dollars to essentially bring in Trev Alberts to run their athletic department.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, did you say Trev Alberts? I did. He was at Nebraska, his alma mater, his dream job, until they threw tens of millions of dollars at him at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
The SEC is rising. The ACC is not. And I think you couple this North Carolina revelation, with these lawsuits. Like Ross Dellinger and Yahoo Sports had a really interesting piece yesterday about the NCAA's ticking clock on these lawsuits. And I think part of the conversation in conferences like the Big 12 and the ACC, where you're making less revenue than the SEC and the Big 10, how are we going to afford these lawsuits? Sure, we can have a layaway plan where we pay a certain amount every year, but that doesn't lessen the blow. That's still billions of dollars that you are out. And now it looks like you've run out of time to get an act of Congress to help you. And you now are being pressured to settle because, as Ross said in the story, which was, if you haven't seen Ross's and Yahoo's story, they did a great job. I would highly encourage you to go and read it, where we're talking about a situation where every day that goes by, you're paying more money into the settlement.
Right.
The price tag keeps going up, as Ross talked about. And I believe that we are in a situation where they are being leveraged. The NCAA, made up of all these universities we're talking about, North Carolina. Do you think that North Carolina has not tried to figure out where in the hell are we going to get the money to pay this and still be competitive in sports?
Yeah, I mean, you think about the current number, it's estimated at $22 million a year per school to pay for these lawsuits. And I think that's a big chunk of change. I mean, there's no that's a meaningful amount of money.
$30 million a year,
like,
for a decade.
It's a lot of money, dude.
That's a lot of money. That is, I mean, imagine being the University of Arizona. Where are you getting $30 extra million, Cal Berkeley, UCLA? How important is that $10 million that UCLA is going to have to cough up now to Cal? Well, I'm going to feel like that's pretty significant. You look at the kind of money that we may be talking about, and I say may because we're in a situation where we don't know if they're going to settle. I mean, you have to settle.
Right.
There's no joy. There is no happiness, as we always say in golf. There's no joy on the right side of the fairway here, friends.
Don't hit it right, bro. The water is over there, okay? The loss is
no
over
joy
to the
over
right,
there.
Okay, bro?
The high weeds and water, right? The platypus is eating your golf ball. Well, the platypus is eating your profits if you're an NCAA member here.
Well, and I think the real tough look, too, is like in the Ross article, there was a lot of talk about how, during court proceedings and like after court proceedings and everything, Charlie Baker is working his ass off to go to the legislature on Capitol Hill and try to get immunity for the NCAA. And the problem is the timing with which this ask is being asked, because you're in an election year, which Ross points out in the article, which means that Congress is not going to be willing to rock the boat and
hand out envelopes to billionaires.
Like you're not going to do that in an election year, presidential election year. And as Ross also pointed out, Charlie's been lobbying Congress for how long to give the NCAA some type of immunity situation, and it's never happened. And so the idea that now it would happen when you need it most is ridiculous. That it's just simply not going to happen at this time. And so the situation you have running parallel to this board of trustees situation at UNC is the NCAA is sitting here literally getting a thumb pushed down on them, basically saying, hey, like, you guys aren't going to get immunity. And every day that goes by, the price goes up. And so how can we settle? And as part of that settlement, get meaningful change to what everybody likes to say, the system, meaning the way the money moves through college athletics, players getting paid, NIL, all this stuff. And that's what I think is difficult. We're in a time where the NCAA itself is getting attacked, and you have conferences melting down because of that, in a sense, where it's like, because I think it's a fair point. Hey, if you're UNC, you're sitting here saying, how are we going to pay for this? And we're falling behind the SEC. So,
but it's not even the falling behind part. Think about the real world economics of the next 5 years. Hell, the next 2 years. I mean, this is you squatting over a vice and having them lock that thing down on your nuts. Because is that too graphic?
I mean, it could have been
a little graphic. But my point is, this is quite literally, this is your balls in a vice.
Yeah.
This is and let's call it $30 million. Let's go, because that's probably the top of the table for a settlement. And let's use UCLA, North Carolina, whoever you want to choose, UCLA. UCLA now is paying $30 million a year for 10 years, on top of $10 million a year for 6 years. You're now at $90 million, right? I mean, think about this. You're at, $30 million for 10 years is $300 million. You're at $390 million over the next 10 years. You're screwed. That's not profitable. You are already taking a smaller cut. Oh, did I mention you also got to throw on the revenue sharing that's going to happen with the players? So wait, now if you're UCLA, you're paying $10 million a year for 6 years to Cal. That's $60 million. $300 million, $360 million. Now we're at, over that decade, we're probably at close to $500 million out of your pocket. Let that, if not more, based on the revenue you generate. So now you look at North Carolina, which is it should be a revenue generating diesel engine.
Yeah.
With basketball, tournament shares, recent national championship,
Facts.
big time guys in the NBA. Drake May drafted number 3. What was it, to New England? Right. You're putting guys in the NFL. You're putting guys in the NBA, and you can't afford to compete anymore because you're also paying $30 million a year for 10 years. You're also paying, and I don't know what the cap will wind up being on revenue sharing. But you're looking at something in the order of you're probably losing $50 million a year.
Yeah.
In new money.
Yeah.
And new expenses. Let that sink in, man.
And that is just a boatload.
You're $30 million a year on the settlement. And in profit sharing, do you understand what $20 million means to how different is $20 million in Chapel Hill versus Fresno, California? How different is, and this is the ultimate G5 conundrum. Hell, this is the ultimate across the P4 conundrum. Because if we're profit sharing $20 million a year and you're Pitt, think about SMU, and everybody keeps saying, well, the collective, Monty, here in Dallas, fuck the collective. We're talking about $50 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money you got in your collective. That's a lot of bread, dude. There's no way around that. And I'm talking about for the money-making juggernaut for Ohio State, who is the largest revenue generator. $50 million a year in extra costs. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you look at, we can sit here and we can, everybody that had their piss hot over Kansas to the SEC, which is not happening, yesterday. But you kind of understand why, hey, if I could make $20 million more dollars a year from where I'm at now, I mean, you need to find a way to find, shake the couch cushions. Every nickel, dime, and quarter matters. And then if you're North Carolina and your regents out here talking about how the ACC is not making you money, now you understand why, yeah, this is an existential crisis now that North Carolina is involved in the ACC meltdown.
Yeah.
You can't, and there was a bunch of people in the comment section on YouTube yesterday talking about how this is just going to work itself out. It's not going to work itself out, because I hope people understand, if there is not an act of Congress, the NCAA is going to be insolvent. These universities will not continue to kick down to the NCAA. That management structure is in real jeopardy. And if that goes away, which I still to this day am telling you, the NCAA is not going away. But if it becomes significantly less valuable to its membership, in the absence of leadership, somebody's going to fill that vacuum. And if you think a Super League is not happening, you're out of your mind. What is the solution for all of this conversation? Make more money. And if I can bring in private money, and I can bring in more partner dollars, if I can get more Bud money, if I can get more Coca-Cola money, more Toyota money,
Right.
more all of this money, more Wells Fargo money. Look at golf right now. And you guys are going to be like, God damn it, Monty, we're not talking golf.
Guys talk golf every day. It's a college football show.
Did anybody see what the president of RBC, the Royal Bank of Canada, said? Everybody's like, oh, Monty, the PGA is going to be fine. Yeah, until RBC, who's got 3 events on the tour, said this is not sustainable. We cannot continue to have golf set up this way. And now you find out yesterday that the PGA Tour had a major dude step down. And what did he say in stepping down? Yeah, the players are now in control of the PGA Tour Board of Governors. And if you don't know the story, Jimmy Dunn, he's one of the guys that negotiated the deal with the Live Golf folks, have not come to a settlement. And now yesterday, Jimmy Dunn resigned his position and was like, yeah, I'm out. Done. Immediately, like effective right now. So you think there's all this money to go around. So if RBC pulls out of golf, where's their money going to go? If Wells Fargo pulls out of golf, where's their money going to go? Why do you think that so many people were up in arms about Mountain America Sun Devil Stadium at Arizona State? Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Because they need the money.
Desperately,
right? So we can sit here and we can talk about how, sports is never going away, Monty. You want to bet? Anybody notice Major League Baseball could not get a deal with YouTube TV? YouTube TV last, I think, Thursday announced they were not going to have baseball. Anybody see what Major League Baseball did yesterday? Terms not disclosed, but a Sunday game of the week will now appear on Roku.
Wait, I thought you said Roku.
Roku. Got no Roku.
Who watches Roku?
But my point is, if you're Major League Baseball, you're out chasing the money. If you're NASCAR, you're out chasing the money. Do you think it's any different in college football and basketball? Do you think this situation in the ACC and North Carolina, do you really think that this is unrelated to these lawsuits and the struggle to get a settlement or immunity done? No, it's not. No, it's not. You need, if you're North Carolina, you need it right now. That's what this tells me about the North Carolina trustee yesterday.
Yeah.
You need it, and you need it right fucking now.
Yeah.
Because you're starting to feel, you used to knock your hip out of place, right? You had to go to the chiropractor all the time because you were sitting on that fat ass wallet of yours. Well, now it's not so fat anymore because you're given $30 million a year to a settlement, and you're given $20 million a year to revenue sharing.
Yeah.
And you're giving how I don't mean to be redundant. How does Arizona and UCLA even compete? How do you even compete? UCLA is giving Cal $10 million a year, which you might as well just send that money to the NIL settlement. How do you even compete if you're Cal?
Yeah, you don't. And
I think it is. I think this is absolutely this is where, and I know, Monty, you don't know shit, bro.
Monty, you're drinking the blue Kool-Aid, man. Come on.
I know. I don't know anything. Tell me again the Super League's dead. Tell me again. And I'll continue to tell you, that's where we're all going.
Yeah.
We can sit here and we can toy around with this. This North Carolina statement was not accidental. This was planned. This is a methodical beginning of the end of the ACC, in my opinion.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
I think it's the beginning of the end of the ACC as we know it. And I can't remember what everybody was saying last time we talked about this, but basically saying I'm pushing the panic button and you're giving North Carolina too much. Am I really giving North Carolina too much credit?
Yeah, don't think you can say that anymore, man. I think that as soon as a brand like UNC starts talking, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I think you're in big trouble. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. Hello, good morning, you guys. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button. We have had over 500 people watch this show already in the first 35 minutes. 38 likes. Please, if you are here right now, consider hitting the like button. If you are watching every day, if you want to comment, you have to be a subscriber. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. And let's talk about this ACC situation. The questions currently in front of you. How good looking am I? Now, your wife shouldn't probably watch the show or you're going to wind up divorced because she's going to want a piece of the man. Totally get that. But the question is, that wasn't, I just kind of came up with that off the top of my head, but feeling my loins a little bit. How serious do you think this North Carolina thing is? In the comments section right now, why do you think North Carolina came out yesterday and made this statement? Why do you think that North Carolina so aggressively came out and said, yeah, we're not making enough money. And if we're not making enough money, we're going to have to find a way to make more money. Because I think that's what this is. And I'll show you. Forgive me, I should have had this Brett McMurphy tweet already. But I want you to see this tweet because I think this is a big, big deal, man. I think this tweet right here. Oh, you have it already.
I think that one you screenshot was a different one.
UNC trustee David Boliek is advocating for UNC to join a higher revenue league. That's what we need to do. We need to do everything we can do to get there, or the alternative is the ACC is going to have to reconstruct itself. I think all options are on the table.
See, and so that to me just screams of, hey, like, we're going to quote unquote reconstruct, meaning, hey, we're getting the lion's share, as you were saying, of the revenue.
And then Boliek said Carolina's ability to maintain excellence at a high level is going to require really prudent budgeting and revenue models and potential cost cutting. A lot of it is due to the revenue or lack thereof revenue that we're not receiving from the ACC. UNC Board of Trustees approved an audit of the school's athletic department on Monday.
No, I'm good with that. You wanna rebudget and see what's what? I'm cool with that. That's well within your right.
I am telling you now, this is not accidental. This was not, hey, I'm just talking. This was purposeful. This is a shot over the bow. And you look at him saying that advocating for UNC to join a higher revenue league. That is the Big Ten.
Yeah.
That is the Big Ten. And I think now that we have this, and imagine this pendulum swinging back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And now North Carolina is the one pushing the pendulum. How long before Notre Dame joins North Carolina and pushing the pendulum? Because if Notre Dame's out, everybody's out.
Well, and I think it's a fascinating concept of, hey, like all these guys and leadership and board of trustee members and everything talk, right? So whether you're at Notre Dame or UNC or Duke or whoever,
correct,
you've all talked. And those have been behind closed doors, private conversations. And now it's like, hey, in those closed door private conversations, we formulated a strategy for when we would want to go public with things. And it feels like, as you were saying, this was a targeted time for UNC's board of trustees to start talking. And I'm just trying to understand what the impetus was, they didn't just say, hey, well, whatever today's the 14th. Hey, the 13th of May is the day we're going to talk. That's not how it works. They saw something, whether it's this NCAA court stuff or whatever, they saw something and said, okay, now seems like a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. All right. As always, the Monty Show comment section is presented by our good friends at Prize Picks. I don't know how I do it. As I've told you many times on the show, I'm a sex machine, right?
I want to thank me for having no days off.
Dude, seriously, pimp's going to pimp. I'm awesome. I'm amazing. I'm wildly intelligent.
Yeah.
I'm kind of an asshole, and I win at prize.
Okay, fuck you. How's that?
That's what I do. Let me update you on the prize picks from last night. Jason Tatum, over 43.5, 49.
Okay.
Chet Holmgren, over 15 points, 18. Jake Bowers, infielder, Milwaukee. I needed him to have one total base. He had one total base. $56.25.
Doll hairs.
56 doll hairs, 25 cents. Now, I also have a working 3-play on prize picks for the NBA Finals or the NBA playoff series. Games 1 through 4. Jalen Brunson needs to have 147.5 or less. It's at 116 right now. But shouldn't this be? I should have won this already.
Yeah, the 3-pick flex play, 20 to win $25. I won. So Brunson had less than 147.5 points through games 1 through 4. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had more than 23 assists. And Luka, as usual, because I'm an idiot, let me down and only had 9 3-pointers made through games 1 through 4.
Oh, my God. Eat my art. I got Jalen Brunson right. I needed... I needed Chet Holmgren to have 64 points. Or, excuse me, 62 points.
61.
What a prick. 61 points. Yeah,
I'm Garbo. I can't hit on prize picks.
I'm telling you, I'm terrible at prize picks. I'm unattractive and I'm not very bright. It just is what it is, right? That's the beauty of prize picks. Prizepicks.com. Download the app. Use the promo code Monty. You get 100% deposit matching. I love it. I play $5. I play $10. Like, it's super. You put in $10, they'll give you 20. You can play for a week on that.
Do you still have the Caitlin Clark half a point selection working from the other day?
Just
I'm just curious because I'm going to win that one tonight. I'm going to win $40 hairs more.
I am not going to win that. I needed TJ McConnell to do something other than shit himself. And he did not. I needed 1 3-pointer the other night from TJ McConnell.
TJ McConnell.
I believe that's the game he went 0-4.
Yeah.
I needed Rick Brunson's kid to have 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Oh, my foot hurts. Shut up. I'm going to lose that one on prize picks.
Okay. Good talk. All right.
I think baseball and the NBA are the two best on prize picks.
And Galf.
Zesties, Retro and Games, a member of the show for 14 months.
Let me pull it out for you. There you go. Nice job, dude.
It's interesting going through this week is usually right around the 15th. We audit all of our members to make sure everybody's paid up and they're in the Instagram chat. It's very interesting how many people now have joined the Instagram members only chat.
Yes.
It's $10 a month. It's a great group of dudes. It tends to police itself. As our RJ Loner phone found out the hard way.
Do you know what that's like these days?
If you come in there and you act in a fool, man, you're gonna get your ass run. But it's been a really good group of guys. So Zesty, appreciate you supporting the show. Not sure if I should be excited about KU to the SEC or not. Well, it's not happening.
Yeah, what's there to be excited about?
So what is there to be excited about? UW fan Jim Roman Dune say $5. If North Carolina and Duke get a full share in the big, will UW and Oregon? I don't think that that's related. I think you made your bed. You got to lie in it. You made your deal here.
Yeah, did I miss something? I thought UW and Oregon were getting full share.
No, not right away. Not right off the bat. They are not.
Oh,
they will get. They're getting the pro rata they deserve.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
It will ramp up. But I think that North Carolina and Duke will get full share. I mean, the Big
How do you
Ten.
not?
They're Washington basketball needs to be better. Oregon basketball needs to be better. And UCLA, USC. Anybody see Bronny James last night? Yesterday at the NBA Combine. 100% medically cleared. His heart is not an issue any longer. So yeah, let's go out and have all the scouts watch us do a 12-shot 3-point drill.
Right.
How many of those 3 balls do you think he hit?
All of them.
How about 12 for 12?
Stud.
Like the kid, I'm telling you. But you look at USC and UCLA, Washington and Oregon, they have not been stout in basketball. They have not. And I think that's the coup for the Big 12 with Arizona. As much trouble as Arizona's in, they're always going to fund basketball. That is a basketball institution.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see how passionately does the Big Ten chase Carolina and Duke? Because I still maintain, and I was told the other day, again, Carolina and Duke are a combination. That's a package deal. And I think they get that. I think they understand it. That they are a package deal.
Right.
And their leverage is together. So Mike Smith, Duke does the Dookie.
Hey, Duke is Duke. You know what I mean?
Okay. Duke is Duke. Duke is Duke.
Yeah.
OG Gary. I assume UNC, Duke, NC State, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, Louisville, Pitt, Notre Dame. That's 9. It's game over.
Dude, you don't have to list all the teams
your favorite
you're a fan
teams.
of, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Like, come on.
I don't know that Pitt is in that conversation quite yet. I was told to much more look at the Virginia schools, because I think Virginia and Virginia Tech would very much like to be in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And I think you start looking at the basketball brands in the ACC. I think you're looking at a massive opportunity if you are the powers that be in the Big 10 and the Big 12. I think you have to continue to build your basketball product. And if I look at the ACC, and off the top of your head, basketball power or not?
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yes.
Duke.
Yes.
Virginia.
Yes.
Pitt.
No.
Not consistently. Wake Forest.
No.
Yes. Oh, yes, they are. I think Wake Forest is a basketball brand. I do. And I think they had a very nice year, and I think the SEC would love to add Wake Forest. Clemson, really 14th in the country. I think they're going to the SEC if it melts down. Here's a very interesting brand, Syracuse. Now, what are you, 31?
Yeah, they
Gonna
might
be
as well
31.
join the Big East, bro.
Where does Syracuse end up? Does Syracuse have value in the Big 12? I would think not. The Big 10, I would think not.
Yeah, Syracuse is a heritage brand that has huge value on the East Coast, but I don't think has huge value nationally.
I would agree with that. Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
I think football and basketball, and I think they are a great fit in the Big 12. Florida State, the conundrum is, because we've talked about this a lot, Florida does not want Florida State in the SEC. Understandably so. I think Florida would be far more willing to accept Miami than they would be Florida State. But I don't know that Florida's got the juice to have a say in that.
Yeah.
I truly
haven't been good enough lately.
I think Florida State belongs in the SEC. Florida State belongs in the SEC. North Carolina State.
They've had some runs for sure.
I don't know, but where are you a fit? I would have to think you're a fit in the SEC. But do you need to be in the same conference? And again, I do not believe they are tied at the hip. Now, North Carolina and North Carolina State probably recognize that they are better together. But there is no love lost between those two.
Yeah, I mean, it might sound crazy on its face, but if I'm Big 12, I'd definitely be looking at North Carolina State.
I don't see how you're not. I would agree with that. Boston College.
Boston College screams hockey school to me, but
wow, you're a cock. Maybe you've heard of Matt Ryan. But is Boston College an afterthought? How are they not an afterthought?
Well, I mean, now they've got Bill O'Brien, so wow.
Georgia Tech. That's an SEC school. Miami. And I think this is a big one. Where does Miami fit in the grand scheme of these conversations?
Yeah, I think what's hard with Miami is they were huge in the 2000s, obviously. But they haven't been as big, obviously, in the modern day. So it's kind of this discussion with Miami of like, hey, well, where could they go? Like Miami's sort of a longer term play. hey, we're buying it cheaper, hoping it grows into, a serious day-to-day
But
contributor.
that's a huge brand. I mean, I think Mario Cristobal has Miami heading in the right direction.
Man,
I mean, basketball-wise, I don't know that there is consistent production in basketball.
yeah, I mean, maybe, and I know this is shocking.
What were they? They were sub 500 last year.
Maybe I'm just a hater, but I don't view Miami as a I mean, it's a brand, but it's not like, man, I gotta have Miami.
If you have Miami football, I think you are better off than if you do not have it. I don't.
I don't know. Maybe Miami is one of those institutions where it does depend on who you ask. I mean, if you ask Greg Sankey, let's say, hey, like, what do you think of Miami? I'd be curious to see what he thinks of Miami in today's marketplace.
Well, I mean, obviously, South Florida, South FLA is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's an athletic pipeline. I mean, I here in Utah, like the Dennis Erickson pipeline from South Florida to Utah was significant. And it was talented, and it put out the athlete coming out of Florida is one that is very desirable. So I don't know how they don't go to the SEC. You're not turning Miami down. You're just not. You are not. And again, I look at, obviously there's two more. Louisville, that's a Big 12 school. If Notre Dame, and this is where Notre Dame, as we've always talked about, the parameters of Notre Dame joining the Big 10, because that's it. They're not joining the Big 12. They're not joining the SEC. Notre Dame is a Big 10 brand. I think it would take the ACC melting down. And I think Notre Dame has to be involved if the ACC melts down.
Who does the Big Ten have in the state of Florida? Who am I forgetting? I was sitting here while you were saying that, I was sitting here thinking, hey, who does the Big Ten have?
The Big Ten doesn't have nobody, man. I mean, you look at the Big Ten, your Michigan, Rutgers. I mean, they don't have.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, if you're the Big Ten and the SEC, and you're already in business together, and you're looking at the ACC schools, and the proposition of like I think it's pretty clear, like, where UNC and Duke and all the big boys would go. Those ones, I think, there's just not a lot of conversation there. We know where they would go. But, like, I'm telling you, schools like Miami, I think, are really interesting conversations. Yeah, Miami would be a fit in the SEC. Sure, of course, like, obviously. But I do think if you're the Big Ten, you're looking at the ACC saying, hey, like, where's our slice of the pie in Florida? Is that Florida State? Is that Miami? Like, the Big 12's got UCF, right? Obviously, the SEC's got Florida. You know,
my opinion is that I don't know if you're the Big Ten do you want Florida?
Well, if the Big 12's got Florida, the Big 10's got to have Florida. Like, that's how I see it. Like, if the Big 12 is going to pick up UCF, which they did, obviously, I would be like, hey, man, the ACC's melting down. How can we get into Florida?
The thing that worries you is that if you're the Big 10, I mean, how do I say this politely? The Big 10 has always thumbed their nose at the southeast quadrant of this country.
Mm.
And whether it is Pedo State, Maryland, like you have never had a legitimate pursuit of a team in the state of Florida. I would agree with you that adding UCF was a great win. There's no doubt that this past expansion of the Big 12 with Houston, BYU, I still maintain Cincinnati should have been in the Big 10, but is what it is. Cincinnati and UCF was significant. That was a foothold, a foundational expansion. If you are the Big 10, I do not think they care about adding a team in the state of Florida.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, then I think if you're Miami, I mean, obviously the SEC is your cup of tea. But
yeah, that's where you're going. And I think Louisville and Notre Dame are the two wild cards, because I think Louisville can write its own ticket. I think if they want to go to the SEC, I think the SEC would open their doors. I think they want to play basketball, and I think they want to play basketball in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that too often from too many people. And I think that Jack Swarbrick has said for a generation, if they join a conference, they will join the Big Ten. And I think you look at some of these universities, I think that the Virginias, if I am the Big 12, I am doing everything I can do to make sure that Duke and North Carolina say no to me repeatedly.
Right.
That they have to boot heel me right in the flipping face because I am going to stalk you. I am going to hound you. I am going to sleep in your butt crack until you absolutely say, get out of here. We're going to the Big Ten. We're going to the SEC.
Right.
If I'm Brett Yormark, I'm doing everything I can do to get Duke, Carolina, which I think is probably out of his reach. Okay, I want Pitt because I want Pitt in West Virginia every single season in football, multiple times in basketball. I want it. I need it. I'm doing everything I can do to get Pitt, but I think the Big Ten would like Pitt as well. I'm doing everything I can do if I am Brett Yormark to get the Virginia schools. I am doing everything I can do if I am Brett Yormark. I am calling Florida State. I am calling Miami. I am calling everybody to say, hey, Syracuse. And I do think Brett Yormark I think he has an eye on Syracuse. I think that Brett Yormark knows he needs a bigger footprint in the Northeast for logistics and for revenue generation. I don't know what you do with Syracuse football because it just has not been relevant. It's not been good. But man, I think Syracuse basketball has value. I know I'm an old fuddy-duddy, fart smeller.
It's maybe Jim Bam can come back, man. Come on.
Come
on, Monty.
But that's my opinion. I think you got to have Pitt in the Virginias. I think you got to have Louisville. And if you are ESPN, you can make those deals happen for Brett Yormark. And I know, again, Monty, you don't know shit. Brett Yormark has a great relationship with Jimmy Pitaro.
Yeah.
Not a good relationship, a great relationship with Jimmy Pitaro. Can you imagine adding Louisville football, Virginia Tech, having the Hokies, having the Cavaliers in this league, in the Big 12?
Yeah.
Come on. This is now the real conversation that's being had. If North Carolina builds a coalition to break the ACC grant of rights, then what? And I'll continue to say the same thing I said about Duke and Carolina. I'm supposed to talk to a dude today about this. Brett Yormark and his folks have been aggressively pursuing conversations with people in the ACC. They are no longer playing defense. They are playing offense. And it's exactly what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And it's why if you're a fan of the Big 12, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'll be honest. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I want into the Big 10. I want Notre Dame to join the Big 10.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Because if Notre Dame joins the Big 10, I get fucking Michigan, Notre Dame every single year. And I want to beat their ass every single year. Because they're probably, you're going to get rolled by Ohio State and Michigan every year. Good. Marcus Freeman should be fired. If you can't count to 10, how can you be a football coach?
Facts.
I'm all about it. But the other thing that I think is vitally important is that you maintain 3 leagues minimum. And I'm very curious. If the ACC, because I've also heard this a couple of times, are we talking about a super league and the ACC stays together for basketball? They break their grant of rights. They renegotiate with ESPN as a basketball only. And they move into the God tier. And I'm telling you, it's a possibility because you look at the basketball model that Brett Yormark created. And I said it, that Brett Yormark created. And I know nobody wants to give Brett Yormark credit for this. Brett Yormark took his basketball product and created a business unit.
Mm-hmm.
And he separated it from football. Well, what do you know? Look at what the ACC's doing. Holy cow. Look what the SEC's doing. Look at what the Big Ten's doing. Creating events around their basketball championship tournament.
What?
Are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. Brett Yormark is the trendsetter there. And I think if you can keep the ACC together as a basketball league and you take their football, excuse me, and you put it in a super league, that's how the ACC survives.
Right.
Because basketball is not a problem. You are generating revenue, tournament shares.
Yeah, football's the issue, bro. It's just such an unequal sport. It's such a.
It makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Why would we not hit the easy button in football and create the Super League and find solutions to handle the settlements that are coming in the NCAA court stuff, but then also secure the future of these iconic football programs for the next 20 years. I mean, because that's what we're looking at. I mean, that's what I think everybody wants. Like, hey, can we get a decade or two of calm waters where we can just operate every year, make money, get back in a good position, and be good again? That's what everyone wants.
I think we are now into a new world in the ACC with North Carolina openly questioning the demise of the ACC. I think it's a new world.
Yeah.
All right, let's get your thoughts in here. I promise I will stop talking now. Dakota Tubbs sounds like Mr. Loner was unalived. He should call the advocates. Well, don't be a jackass in the group chat. Don't send me MFing direct messages and get your ass
I'm
blocked.
not talking about that.
And listen, I don't have a problem with Loner Phone. I don't know if he's here today or whatever, but whether he's here or not, I will just say, if you're going to send me MFing and cursing and angry DMs, who wants to be part of that?
This is like Buddy yesterday who started his DM on Twitter with "Hey asshole."
Yeah, who wants and
come on,
and
dude.
then apologized after I said it on the show. Too late. You're dead to me.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. I have enough negativity inside my own head.
Yeah.
That I don't need others. It's why I don't read my notifications on Twitter.
And frankly, like, everyone's always like, "Well, I'm paying you. You can't control the group chat."
Well, you're not paying me to be an asshole.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can.
Yeah.
So our group chat, you guys, if you haven't been in it, if you don't know, if you're not a part of it, it is fantastic. We talk about stocks, we talk about news, we talk about sports, we talk about life. It's pretty amazing.
It is.
It's pretty amazing, man. So, and it
like
is
yesterday we end the show talking about me eating a taquito off a roller,
which is disgusting.
And that was all up in the group chat for like 2 hours. It was awesome.
I still cannot believe you did that. That you walked into a QT and ate a taquito off of a hot roller. That is disgusting.
It's not.
Did you drink a 32-ounce Dr. Pepper with it?
No, I had a Monster.
That's okay. I'll at least give you that.
Because they didn't carry what's it called? Bucked up.
It's amazing to me that you have people on the daily that'll get like a full sugar, or even the same thing. I think diet soda and full sugar soda, it's just all
the same. It's a cesspool.
They'll get a 32-ounce fountain soda, and they'll get like a hot dog off the roller.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, man, I can't believe I've got to take high cholesterol meds now. What is this about? I live a healthy lifestyle. No, you don't. Listen, and I always judge people at the convenience store who do this. If you're the person, listen, Wilma, if you're standing in front of me at because I go to Maverick to fill up my canteen with water. I do not drink soda. I have not had a soda, even a sip of soda, in 15 years now at this point. If you are the person in front of me at Maverick and you're filling up your 44-ounce reusable cup, and you're like the other day at Maverick mixing sodas, just go straight to hell.
Dude,
like,
come
you're
on.
killing yourself.
Yeah, but that's their prerogative, bro.
Yeah, you're killing yourself. And our tax dollars are gonna wind up paying for your stints.
Well, we had to clean Wilma up in aisle 4, so taxes are going up.
Please stop drinking. Stop. Jimmy Otson, hello. UNC and Duke are not getting full Big Ten shares. The rest of the Big Ten aren't sharing their money. What do you want to bet?
It's UNC and Duke, buddy. I think that you're gonna pay them.
They're on a different level.
Yeah.
If you can get the UNC Duke basketball game 3 times a year in your conference, Come on.
Like, you understand UNC and Duke are the best teams you have on the basketball court in the Big Ten, right?
You understand that they're automatically getting you tournament shares every year. They're automatically selling merch that's going to have a Big Ten patch on it. I'm going to say they're going to sell more tickets at your conference championship event in Indianapolis or Chicago. I'm going to go ahead and say that they're going to get their money. There is no doubt about that. No doubt about it at all. Syracuse is a bigger hoops brand than Wake. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ed Enriquez, Cuse to the Big East. Natural fit. Georgetown, like,
Yeah,
put 'em
I
in.
just don't know why you wouldn't do that. Like,
RJ, honestly, the ACC is the clown show. Okay. Caps Lock Friday Coug. Florida doesn't want FSU. A&M didn't want Texas. Doesn't matter if the rest of the schools want them. Or if you suck and you don't win.
yeah, I think the only challenge, though, with the FSU situation is the amount of schools that will be moving if the ACC melts down. So, like, if I'm the SEC, I would think you'd prioritize Florida State over Miami, let's say, or
I would
Florida
think so.
State over, any of the other options we've discussed today, because
Florida State's a no-brainer. They're a power
Yeah.
brand. They play good basketball.
they instantly make you money.
They're one of the better football teams in the country. Like, yeah absolutely.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Magic. Hey,
Okay,
playa.
is this BYU hate or what do we got today?
It's really sad your devotion to Chet.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
And North Carolina and Duke are bitter rivals. Yes, they are.
Victor's the
I
way.
have no idea.
Your devotion to Chet.
OG Gary, we all police each other in the chat. Love the chat. It's amazing. It is amazing. Morning, Elaine Tran. Yeah, Elaine Tran. Good morning. LMAO, Jake ate a roller. He did.
Yeah.
I don't like. What are you going to become an over-the-road trucker now?
Macaque.
Yeah, apparently.
Your mom ate a roller. Steve Stepanek.
Oh,
Ho-ho! Everyone needs to treat Monty and Jake with respect, but still have a good time. That's what I'm talking
Steve,
about.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
You know.
Thank you.
RJ Seaman never cursed at you. Oh.
Wait, is this the same guy?
Are you kidding me?
Let me point this out. So,
Are you kidding
so
me?
let me point this out. So this is the same guy who said Apple still had the loaner phone
Yes.
program.
Yes. No, I'm not going to read his DMs. I'm not going to do you like that. I'm not going to.
I mean, keep pushing it and we will. But,
do you think your DMs disappear?
come on, guy.
Are you out of your mind?
Come on.
Like, he lost RJC loaner phone or whatever the fuck your name is. Like, he cursed me out because his real name, his legal name, was in the group chat on Instagram. And then apologized. He's like, oh, I see everybody's name is in there. It's an Instagram thing. Yeah, because I'm outing you by your real legal name. Do you guys understand that's the kind of bullshit I have to deal with? That's what I like. You're cursing at me over your legal name on Instagram.
You know,
Bro, I'll never see your DMs again, ever. And because I just don't have, like, how unhappy do you have to be cursing somebody out on DM? Let that sink in.
I love the concept of, hey, I'm going to curse dude out on DM. Like, not even just loaner phone. Like, we see this all the time. Hey, I'm going to send you a DM where I'm going to start it with, hey, asshole, and then curse you out. And then the moment you hold me accountable, oh, my bad. Sorry. Didn't mean nothing by it, dude.
Yeah, bro yesterday, whose name I'm not going to keep saying, bro yesterday was like, dude, I got some stuff going on in my personal life.
Oh, so that's an
I'm
excuse?
sure. And others who have melted down on this show, what did they say? Oh, my bad. I had some stuff going on in my personal life. I'm sure you do, but it's not going to impact me.
Man, that's not a get out of jail free card, Slick.
Not going to impact me. Stepanek, RX, there is your first lie you telling the truth.
RJ. That's supposed
He
to say
means RJ. Okay.
Yeah.
UW fan Jim Roma Dunes, a hometown homer here, but I have a high hopes for Coach Sprinkle in our ramped up NIL program. Okay. Let's see. San Diego State Glen. Monty, there's a reason a generation ago kids named mixing all the soda brands at a fountain a suicide. Bro, I don't understand it. I've watched at the Maverick which is an amazing convenience store.
Yeah.
I love it. They have an unbelievable soda machine.
Oh, their soda game is unmatched. Yeah.
But I've watched people mix like regular Mountain Dew, Code Red, like.
And all they're thinking about is, well, I gotta get the best taste here, man.
What are we doing? Like at the movie theaters, they have those Coke machines.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Come on, bro. The only thing close to that I drink is 0 sugar Minute Maid lemonade. That's as close as I get to it. Who's cursing you? Who's bullying you? I'll protect you. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I hate that YouTube is outing my legal name on this platform, right? Like the guy literally was like, "You son of a bitch! How dare you tell people what my name?" Like, I don't have any control over what you do on Instagram. Go away. Like, you're crazy. That did happen in saying jackasses. Yes. Now we're spinning.
We're admitting and spinning. Okay,
right.
Got it.
When I get a Slurpee at 7-Eleven, I mix the Coke and the cherry.
Okay. All right, man.
Dude, I haven't. You know how much I miss a good Slurpee? I haven't had a Slurpee in. Don't they usually do that on 7-Eleven, July 11th?
Yeah, they have free Slurpees. Yeah.
Y'all remember Surge? Oh my God, yes. Whatever happened to that soda? It murdered people.
Damn.
It murdered people. Oh my God, Surge. I haven't thought about Gary. Dude, I haven't thought about Surge in forever. Let's see, Mike. Mike, the Coke and cherry mix years ago was done enough that Coke decided to make cherry Coke, which I freely admit. Wasn't there a cherry Dr. Pepper too?
Yes, and I was big on that as a kid.
Cherry Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
I can vividly remember when Jake was a toddler. I used to buy like a case of Pepsi, full sugar Pepsi, a couple times a week and just crush it. I grew up on my parents buying me like the generic orange soda or a fruit punch. And my parents would shop on Sunday and they would not go back to the grocery store. And let's say they'd buy 6 bottles of soda for the week.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you get. And as a kid, I never drank water ever.
Even if there was a fire?
Even if there was a fire. Ever. Oak State James for $10. Stadium guy and loves barbecue.
Oh, okay.
How dare you out yourself as a barbecue lover?
Yeah, we don't need to know your full legal name, bro. Come on.
2 things. 1, I just got my ticket to FSU versus SMU. That will be a great game. 2, I made videos on the Super League in 8 divisions. We'll post soon. Thank God I've been waiting. I believe the 80-team Super League is what we need. Okay.
Stay hard.
Brandon Butler, people staying on brand. Yes, they are. I've never understood the negativity thing. And I am a self-deprecator, right? My humor is, I always joke about being fat ass or whatever. Like, and I've really tried to curtail that because that negative speak in your head, it's terrible for you. It is terrible for you. And it's one of those things where I am not the guy who is going to be negative all the time about everything. And there are just some people you would be shocked at the DMs that I get and thankfully on Instagram, it's super easy to block people, but I don't read my DMs usually on Twitter, and I never read my notifications on Twitter, ever. And it's amazing to me, like the once a month I'll go into my DMs on Twitter and I will just be amazed at how many people will say something terrible and then they'll be like, "Oh, bro, I was having a bad day."
My bad, Monty.
It's like there's no such thing as having a bad day where you decided to be a terrible human being.
Yeah, that's your excuse for treating people poorly.
Yeah. And I just am like, I've never understood the light people up on DM thing.
Yeah.
Never understood that. Big Daddy Magic. Hey, player, my legal name is Big Dick McGee.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Richard.
Okay.
The CAC.
Okay, Richard. Boyd Lake, when is the next interview with gunslinger known as Jake the Snake Retzloff? Once fall camp starts. Once football starts.
Yeah.
That's when we'll do it. Jolt. Yes, Eric and Raleigh. Remember Jolt Cola? Oh, Hated that stuff. Hated it. Yeah, exactly right. James, Surge was new Coke repackaged. Once they sold all of it, they didn't make any more. Okay.
The fact that all of you know what Surge is tells me it was successful.
Exactly right. Stepanic. Jolt was the first energy drink, dude. Seriously.
Jolt.
OG Gary, say his name. I don't have to. I can read it right there. Exactly. Like he got upset that his legal name was on Instagram.
You're singling me out. What is this?
And this is a dude that was roundly, I cannot tell you how many people are like, dude, what is this guy doing in the chat?
You show up.
I think there's been 2 or 3 of those people
And
who are
you
just
know what
like,
the problem is? Like when I get the DM, hey man, can you add me on the chat? I'm paying now. I know instantly that this is not a good idea, and it's gonna. The over under was about a week in my head. I was like, okay,
yeah,
you know what? How long is this gonna last?
Oh my God, yes, Fanta red cream soda.
Oh, Fanta, dude,
guard.
Fanta is next level.
Yes, Jolt Cola equals childhood diabetes. Yes. Caleb, you can get Surge at the BK Coke machines.
Oh, okay.
You mean like Burger King? Oh. The eye patch. There was only one, the Snake, and he played for the Raiders. The rest are wannabes. Okay.
Okay.
Surge was awesome. Was it really, John?
They're telling you this is clearly a thing.
Oh yeah, Big Red, even more Big Red bubble gum. You remember Big Red chewing gum? Oh, cinnamon. The way that it is. Peanuts in my Diet Coke is good.
Okay, now we're off the reservation.
Nah, bro. OG Gary, Surge was low-key underrated. I don't know about that. Do they still make Surge? I don't know, but people are saying they do. As a soda guy, I've leaned into Zevia sodas to get away from the pure sugar and high fructose corn syrup. That high fructose corn syrup, ooh. Radar liked knee-high grape. I don't know what Radar is or knee-high grape. Knee-high. Man, I haven't heard. Knee-high is a thing. I do remember knee-high. Wait a minute. I do remember knee-high. Man, did you ever drink grape soda? Couple of grape sodas?
Nah.
You were never a grape soda guy.
Occasionally, but I was more of an orange soda guy.
Okay. Calamoni says tab. Okay. Monty isn't fat. He is pleasantly plump.
James.
Thank you, James. You know, for the first time in a long time, the other day I was watching a video of myself swinging a golf club. It's like, dude, you're thinner. It's wild to me. It's wild. Bring back Zima? No. OG Gary, it was an acquired taste. Yes, it was. Surge was an acquired taste. Quit sending Monty hateful PMs full of cursing. Only send full frontal pics. He likes those better. And it's wild how many people have figured out I don't read DMs.
Why
on
don't
Twitter.
you read my DMs, man? Why do you hate me?
So they'll come over to Instagram and send me DMs.
Yeah.
So now I turned on where you have, like, you at least have to be following me for me to even see your DM.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild to me.
And what's even funnier is people are so committed to DMing you.
Oh, it's all the time.
It's wild to me.
It's all the time. Jimmy Otson, I'd hate if my son pushed a fat button every time I talk too. It's part of the show, though.
Fat.
I mean, it's part of the show. Anytime we talk about Zion Williamson.
Yeah, first female fat ass.
Fat.
Zevia sodas is so expensive. I'm not familiar with Zevia. Is Zevia that at-home thing? The Zevia. Oh, that's Zevia. Yeah, I know Zevia. Yeah, it is not cheap. Well, yeah. I think I saw that at Harmon's, Zevia. Yeah. Mr. Pibb. I haven't had a Mr. Pibb maybe ever. Orange Slice and Crystal Pepsi. What is Crystal Pepsi? You know what was weird the other day? Mrs. Monty and I.
Hey, Monty.
Mrs. Monty and I were at Harmon's, the grocery store. Have you looked at a bottle of Sprite lately?
No.
So I don't ever go down the soda aisle. I don't drink soda, so I never go down the soda aisle. But we were walking down one of the aisles, and you know how just on the end of grocery store aisles, they'll have like a rack of some rando shit?
Yeah, the end cap, yeah.
They had a rack of sodas, and they had like a 2-liter bottle of Sprite. It was weird looking at it because it's just clear. and it's all sugar. And I couldn't imagine doing that. I could not imagine doing that. When your name is when you have your name in YouTube, you do not have to complain when your name shows up in the Instagram chat. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. Richard McDonald says GME.
Good morning,
everyone.
Yep.
Hello. Who goes to Burger King nowadays?
Now,
Not
I have
me.
to say the triple stacker is gas.
But I'm almost embarrassed at my struggle to eat fast food.
Yeah.
Sunday, we played golf up in Midway, up in the mountains. And we were like, well, what are we going to do for food? And we wound up going to the store and buying something to make for lunch. My go-to fast food right now, and this is how unaware I am.
Right.
I am a Del Taco guy. So I had Del Taco Friday night after golf with Mrs. Monty.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize there's one walking distance from my house. I had no idea there was a Del Taco down the street from my house.
That's funny, dude.
We were just driving by the other day and I was like, God damn, there's a Del Taco right there. Like, is that new?
No.
It's not new. It's been there. Big Daddy Magic. Hey, playa, you're not fat. You're a wise man and you have smoke show wife. You just had a sad devotion to Notre Dame and Chet and wear a Buffalo Bills hat.
That's funny.
Where do you come up with that? Fanta North America is so full of sugars, Elaine Tran said. All of our soda is. It's terrible. I still like Burger King, but we do not have Whataburger here. Dude, I'm a huge Whataburger guy. Huge. Yidge. Isn't Monster just diet soda on steroids? It is not. I generally drink zero sugar Monster or Bucked Up Miami and read the label. There's if you look like this is a zero sugar Monster. If you look, the difference is you're getting, I drink this particular Monster because it's got a ton of B12 in it, which I'm a huge believer in. But if you look at are the ingredients in energy drinks always good? They're not. They're not at all. And the thing that worries you here is obviously the number one ingredient is carbonated water. I don't love carbonation. But if you look at the thing that worries you is like the caffeine, there's a lot of caffeine in them. So you have to be careful with that. But I always check I want to say it's erythritol is the artificial sweetener. That's the thing that should worry you. How much artificial sweetener are you getting every day?
Yeah.
That's the thing that should worry you. So, Big Blue Horses, Radar from MASH drank grape knee high. Okay. Mike Monty like Dak, he's fragile. Oh, now I'm fragile.
Oh.
Because I don't like you cursing at me in DMs. Now I'm fragile. Okay. M. Parrish. Hey, guys. This is here my first ever chat. Yay. Hit the like button, y'all. Let's go, M. Parrish. Good to see you. Yes, please hit the like button. That helps a lot. Radar from MASH. Yes, MASH was a great show. I watched the final episode of the TV show The Firm last night. They never made a second season. They did 22 first season episodes, never made a second season, left it on a cliffhanger. Like, I wonder why they didn't make a second season. Oh, the show sucked. That's right. Stepanek, the farm store Atwoods has a lot of old school soda. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that we as people appreciate stores like that where you can walk in and they still have all the old school stuff.
Okay. GME 71 per share right now. Meow. Okay, is that GameStop? What is going on? Like, I also saw, I got a notification from one of my stock accounts today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I should check it before I run my mouth.
Yeah.
I think AMC Theaters is back up as well. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we on GameStop and AMC again?
Got me, dude.
I made big bread last time on GameStop. I'm not going back. I ain't going back.
Ain't going back.
Ooh, markets, pre-market is up good. Let's go. Happy with that. I need the see, yesterday was not a good day. Yesterday was like a $600 loss in the portfolio. Not good. Damian Fowler. Yes, Mike, Radar O'Reilly loved grape knee-high. Okay. Bobby Bowden did it, so I did it too, James. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Monty, Radar from MASH. So now I have to look down on you like you look down on Jake for not remembering MASH. How do I not remember MASH? I love MASH. MASH was the show of one of the shows of my childhood. I thought Fanta was Kunta Kinte's crush. A crush soda, like I don't know. Okay. Favorite
what
flavor?
are you talking about, man?
Favorite flavor of crush? Strawberry or orange?
Probably orange.
Strawberry crush.
I mean, strawberry is really good too, though. Like I feel like those are pretty even.
Mike, come to Texas. Whataburgers everywhere, or Arizona. They're everywhere there. Big Red was so nasty. Back in the 70s, we used to go to 7-Eleven and grab an apple beer and cherry beer and a comic book. Those were the days. Remember when you could get good comic books at the grocery store?
Yeah.
You guys remember
Simpler
that?
times, bro.
It was very much simpler times. GME 72 per share. Okay. Yes, I lived in Texas and miss Whataburger, James, stadium guy, and loves barbecue. Did you live in Texas? I didn't know that. I only send pics of food to Monty on Instagram. True.
Well, wouldn't want to get pics of something else, I
Yeah.
mean, that's, it's sketch.
Wow. WTF Craps, did you really just say sarsaparilla? My guy. Old Fountain sarsaparilla pineapple.
Sarsaparilla.
Eric and Raleigh. Zion Ozempic Williamson. Dude.
Yes.
Monty, what's your weight loss secret? I'm trying to lose weight and not much progress so far.
Disciplined with food.
I am very regiment with my food Monday through Friday. I eat a cup of oats in the morning with blueberries and blackberries. Yesterday for lunch, we had lunch out on the veranda. I had spinach ravioli. And yesterday for dinner, I had a whole sweet potato and some garlic bread. And the other part is I'm active a lot. Yesterday, I swung my golf club for 45 minutes after we were done working. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I played golf. 18 on Sunday. 9, 9, and 9 last Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I was busy Saturday morning, so I couldn't play 18.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome having a golf net in my backyard now, and we're getting turf put in, so I'm going to have like a whole putting green, but just being more active. And I don't drink calories. That's the other thing. Like we talk about this soda thing, man. I don't drink calories ever. I drink water or Bucked Up or Monster. That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
My wife has found this lemonade that I really like, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's an all-natural lemonade that I love, and it's not full of sugar, and that I think that is a huge key. If you're not drinking, I try to get 100 ounces, but generally I'm about 60, 70 ounces of water every day.
Yeah. That's a big part of weight loss. Peeing out your weight is a big thing.
And I think you have to eat fiber. And I know people joke about it. And
I think the other thing too is like when you eat at home, like the stomach inflammation goes down, so your digestion's a little bit better. You're not going to be as hungry as often. So like if you can just find a way to there's a ton of studies done. There's all kinds of research, obviously. Boyd, I'm sure you're well aware of this, but if you can just keep it to whole foods, I'm a big believer, like just get like protein and fiber early, have your carbs and your protein in the middle of the day, and then go low carb at night. You're going to lose weight. And if you drink water and you get some semblance of exercise, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah, I think you have to cut out sugar.
I'm a big believer that we overcomplicate it. And that I'm not saying that it's easy to lose weight, but what I am saying is that the human body is not particularly difficult to understand. Now, we're all different. Like, it may be easier for him to lose weight than it is for me or you, or, we're all different, but ultimately it is calories in and calories out. But if you're drinking a lot of water, if you're getting, that exercise in, like, you can do these things to help yourself.
I also think when you are gaining weight, there's a very specific reason for that. And it usually is what you're eating and what you're doing. And if you want to drop pounds, you can't eat sugar. I'm a big believer, and I understand we all talk about fats and oils and processed foods. Totally agree with that. You want to drop pounds, stop drinking calories and stop eating sugar. And it's going to come off. Now, if you can eat fiber at every meal, I eat oats in the morning. My wife, and I couldn't do it without my wife, because yesterday she baked sweet potatoes. We have a stone pan, cuts them in half, washes them, cuts them in half, puts a little olive oil, puts a little sea salt. And if you're going to cook with oil, make it olive oil. But they're packed with nutrients and fiber. So I have fiber for dinner, fiber for breakfast, and I'm very active in on the daily.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when you consider that, like, not to get too deep into it, but if your digestive tract is working well and you're moving food through your body, you're going to lose weight faster. Yeah. If you're allowing your body to process and move, you're going to lose weight faster, for sure.
Hundo P. Hey, Brett McMurphy, look at this. Looky here. Well, looky here. Big 12 fans, Brett McMurphy released his win totals for the Big 12. Oh, this is going to piss off Oklahoma State fans.
Already disrespect happening in the preseason.
Already disrespect being put on that mullet's name. K-State 9.5. Jutta 9.5. Kansas 8.5.
Bro.
Well, Kansas is in the SEC are bad. What?
I didn't realize they were that far down the list.
Yeah. Arizona 7.5. Iowa State 7.5. Okie Light 7.5.
How? What?
Because
they just went to the championship game, and you have them. What is that? 5th,
yeah,
6th?
You have you really upgraded,
dude? That's rough, bro.
I think it's
rough.
How many days am I going to sit here and talk about the mullet? How many days are we going to have this conversation?
Until he wants to play Bedlam again.
Right now, Houston, BYU 4.5, Arizona State, Colorado 5.5, Cincinnati, Baylor. If you're not bowl eligible at Baylor, what's your excuse going to be to keep Dave Aranda?
That you're not interested in winning football games.
Neil Brown needs fired 6.5, UCF 7.5, Tech 7.5.
See, Tech's got to get up to that 9.5 number, dude. You can't. I'm sorry, 7.5.
That's not good enough.
You got to be 8+. You got to be 8+ at Texas.
Sonny Dax at TCU 7.5. How much of this is accurate? K-State feels lofty at 9.5.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
With all of the changes,
K-State's a 7.5 win team.
Jutta 9.5.
Spot on.
Kansas 8.5.
I would say that's spot on.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Arizona 7.5.
That to me feels like you don't watch Pac-12 football.
We'll see. Very interesting. Very interesting, my friends. I'm curious how you guys come down on that. Oak State James, do we need a wellness check? That's very interesting. The eye patch, it's 2024. If you don't know how to lose weight by now, you're not serious. I would agree with that. Where's BYU? 4.5. That's not good. Elaine Tran, go Baylor, go Houston. Dave Aranda, he's a good dude. But he's not a good head football coach.
Yeah.
I just don't see him as that. Loner phone. Brett McMurphy's a hack. Very on brand for you. Mike Smith, I need for him to predict West Virginia in last place. Thanks in advance. Neil Brown needs fired, right? Boyd Lake, SEO King of America. About what I expected, BYU needs to prove themselves.
I think
100%.
BYU could potentially be the biggest shocker on that list.
Yeah, because I do think that Jake Retzloff will be top 5 quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah.
I'm on board. West Virginia 7-5. Mike. Tanner Plumer. So the best teams in the Big 12 are projected to only win 9 games. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Well, I think that it's not that he's projecting them. See, this is what you have to understand. It's an over-under number.
Fuck off.
If you what?
The breaking news out of the ESPN app: the Golden State Warriors WNBA team. What do you think they're going to name them?
I don't know, dude.
The Valkyries.
Bro, see, this is what I'm talking about. When you're all up our ass about the hockey team, what the name of the hockey team is going to be, this is the type of material I'm talking about. You're rolling out the Golden State Valkyries. What is the definition of a Valkyrie?
Stupid basketball name. It is an adjective to describe a stupid basketball name. Shut up. The Valkyries? That's terrible. Like that is...
Okay, Valkyrie. This is the definition. Each of Odin's 12 handmaidens who conducted the slain warriors of their choice from the battlefield to Valhalla.
Fuck out of here with Valkyrie. Shut up, man.
In Norse mythology, a Valkyrie is one of a host of female figures who guide souls of the dead to the god Odin's hall, Valhalla. This is what you came up with? Like, what?
Fat Jesus on brand. They needed something that begins with a V.
Yeah, right.
He means vagina.
Yeah, we're not supposed to joke about the female anatomy. Thanks.
He meant vagina.
Thank you.
Vagina.
Golden State has joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe, apparently.
Right? Like, what?
Even Warriorettes would have been better. But why Valkyries? Like, all right, here we go to be the Chicago Fire. I don't remember
the name of the WNBA team in Chicago.
The Chicago Fire and
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
The Golden State Valkyries. All right, the Valkyries. The
Chicago WM team is the Sky.
The Chicago Sky and the Valkyries, brought to you by America's favorite anti-Semite.
Dude, what?
Tip-off coming next. This is the JJ Network.
Bro.
Hey, what are we doing?
I'm struggling to understand why this was the pick, I have to say.
I think it's a kind of badass name, you women's sports haters.
No, I love the WNBA. I just think the name is a little off.
It's not a sports name. It doesn't flow off of the tongue. Valkyrie. Hey, anybody want some Valkyrie tickets? Valkyrie concurrent tickets? It's in definition, it's a cool name. But the Indiana Fever, that's a stupid ass name for a basketball team. Right? The Indianapolis Fuel, that's a stupid ass name for a hockey team. Right? Like at least the Utah Grizzlies, Bears, Mountains,
Yetis,
Hose, Yeti. That's why I say, like the Utah Yeti, just throw it out there. Do it.
The Utah Swarm.
Oh, all right. It's the Yeti and the Valkyrie next.
Hey, the Utah Rough Riders.
Brought to you by the Venus Razor. Sharon Sugar Shack. It's in name. It doesn't work. In definition, it absolutely works.
I don't know, man. It just is.
Yeah. I'm probably getting divorced now, but it's fine. It's fine. Chicago Skies. Okay. It's not like the Bay Area is a hub for Vikings. This is true, man.
When you look up This
Why
is my
can't I
struggle. This is my struggle. So Valkyrie, it's an odd definition of a name.
just Google search women warrior names or something like that? Like I'm all for a powerful woman as a mascot. I'm all for that. But I don't know what, like the Mercury is really the Phoenix Mercury is a really good name. The Las Vegas Aces, the New York Liberty, like those are great names. But Athena's, that doesn't work.
No.
I don't like
I mean, they're just like
the Redwoods. That probably doesn't work.
Yeah, the Redwoods doesn't work, bro.
What do you mean?
Stay hard. It doesn't work.
I'm trying to think of, I don't know what other Bay Area names you would use. The Bays? No, probably not. I don't know. I'm probably a jerk about it. It's fine. I like the Bay Area Karens. All right, it's the Val Karens. I don't know. I don't know. You know, the logo looks stupid too. It looks like a Kobe logo.
Chill.
It looks like a Kobe logo. Look, it looks like a Kobe logo.
I don't have any issue with that.
No, the logo, I think the logo's
cool.
fine. It incorporates the Golden Gate Bridge. Like, that's cool. But I don't know the Golden State City. I don't even know what you name them. Like, what's a cool woman's warrior name?
There's not like one that just stands out. That's the problem. Like they're just names that are derived, like Kennedy, or like they're just regular names that are derived. Like we should be searching famous Greek woman warriors.
I guess. I don't know. I'm a big fan of empowering women, and the Valkyrie certainly does that. It certainly does that. There's no doubt about that. But it just seems like, I don't know, the Amelias, the Artemis.
No,
I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
Valkyrie struck me as, wow, that sucks. The Xenas.
I mean, it rolls a little bit. The Valkyrie, like, okay, I guess, like marketing standpoint stuff, it's fine, but
the logo's good.
The logo's good. Like, I don't know, man. I you know what I think is tough is that when you're coming up with new names, like you have to come up with something out of the blue. Like you have to come up with something that hasn't been done yet. You have to like, it has to be creative. And so Valkyrie is like, I guess that's cool. It's not like there's no like substance to it. I feel like it's just kind of it sounds kind of cool, which is fine because in the WNBA, they need to market the hell out of that. They need to, if you're launching a new WNBA team, like that's got to grow. That's got to be like obviously the Warriors have had huge success. So if you're going to launch a WNBA team in tandem with the Warriors to share that building and to, be partners essentially. I mean, the branding's got to be good, but when you look at their logo, it's a purple logo, which is really interesting to me when you consider that the Warriors have always been, since, pretty much the beginning of time, have always been yellow and blue. So there's not, like with the Suns and the Mercury, there's a lot of synergy. The Mercury have, the exact same colorways. So are you telling me that this WNBA team is going to be black and purple while the Warriors are yellow, blue, and white, basically?
No, but it works. Like the Valkyrie and the Warriors work together.
Yeah, I mean,
there's some anyway.
I don't know.
It's fine. It's fine. Gary Wolf with the preeminent name, the Macaques. I mean, that to me is,
dude. Nobody's naming a WNBA team the Macaques.
Macaque.
Yeah, they are.
They're not naming it the Redwoods or the Macaques or like that's not happening.
Fat Jesus, the Golden State Shockers, 2 in the pink, 1 in the ring.
Bro, dude, this is a family program right here, bro.
Shooter Texas. J2H, you have to come up with a name that hasn't been done yet. Tell that to the dozens of college football teams that are the Tigers.
Go Tigers. First team all Gary.
Could have been worse. Could have been worse. It could be something like the Commanderettes. Seriously. The Golden State Hammerheads.
No.
What about the Quakes? They already have an Earthquake soccer team. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of something like regionally synergistic, and I just don't.
The Tide.
I don't know. Does that work?
It's the Bay Area. It's a water reference.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for derailing the show with that stupid topic, Jake.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Wasn't me. Hey, real quick before we get out of here, are young people excited about popping out babies? Did you guys see this story that came out? Grow up. For the first time since the 70s, and this is going to sound awfully utilitarian.
Right.
The birth rate has fallen below replacement.
Discock.
And if you look at what's going on in China, India now has become the population center over China. And I think this is a trend, and I think it's a real issue because you're looking at the Chinese, the Americans, the North Americas, our economies, our economy. We rely on people. And we now have, in the next 2 years, according to the Wall Street Journal, in 2 years, there will be more senior citizens, 65 or older, than newborns. Let that sink in. That we will now have more senior citizens than newborns in this country and across this globe. That's how few of you loser millennials are having babies. It's a millennial problem. In all seriousness, why do you think people are so?
Because life's expensive.
Hesitant?
That's the pure reason why. 100%. It's just not. It's not viable. Like, people are not stupid. They see, hey, well, I'm struggling to pay rent now. I'm not going to be able to afford a kid. How can I do that? That's what I'm
Certainly.
saying. Like, I think, and again, last week on the show, we talked all about like housing and the expense of that and all that good stuff. But when you start to look at the big picture, like, people don't consider like, oh man, like, hey, if people are really struggling to buy homes right now or are really struggling to do this or do that, like the major pillars of economics, that's going to have ripple effects into things like, hey, we're not seeing, as you put it, replacement happening. We're not seeing,
birth rates are below replacement now.
Yeah. So like, people are just trying to survive. We're not thriving right now. Like there was a study that came out the other day, and this piggybacks off the one we talked about yesterday, where like the median income in most of the Western U.S. is creeping, or like what you need to make to thrive is creeping towards 200, 220 a year in a family under one household. So between the spouses, you got to be making at least 220.
But what is the American dream anymore? Is the American dream, the house with the picket fence, 2.5 kids and a retriever out front? Like,
I mean, I think that's always been the goal, but I think that it's getting harder and harder to achieve that. And like, it requires now, it used to be a thing where like you would have to sacrifice just like your time, and you would just have to work hard, and like, it would take you 10 years, but you would get there, and you could confidently know that you would get to, hey, I'm going to own my own home, and like, I'm going to, get married and have kids, and like, then I'm going to retire. And, 40 years ago, y'all didn't have to worry about, Social Security running out.
Right.
Like, millennials aren't going to get Social Security. Like, it's changed now.
There is an upside to this, obviously, as the journal pointed out. Globally speaking, the global impact of less humanity is very, very good. It is and I do think there is always, I don't know, natural correction. We're overpopulated. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I also think that if we are going to continue to live the lifestyles we're living, it's not sustainable. And we can talk about, now we're all worried about, because this really will kick in. We will not know the real world impact of this for 10 years.
Yeah.
But if you think in the short term, if you are baby food, formula, diapers, butt wipes, health
Baby
insurance,
products.
You look at what goes into supporting a child in your home and what it is that you spend money on for your toddler your toddler that turns into a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old. Think about that. Who's going to do those jobs? Who's going to pay for that tuition that is no longer needed? Like the change is seismic, and it's workforce, it's revenue generation, it's everything. And for the first time since the 1970s, birth rates are below replacement. And a lot of it is your generation and Gen Z behind you that are just not willing to have kids. Not right now. You're 31 now, going on 31. Like, think about that. You're not anywhere close to having children.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just going to keep saying it. Like, it's just, and some of it is like, like I could have had kids by now. Like, maybe if the path was a little different, or like if we, again, you look at my life in particular, it's been a little different. I wasn't the go to college, find a job, start a family ASAP guy. However, that path plays out regularly in Utah with the LDS community and everything. Obviously, their beliefs and faiths are a little bit different, so they're having kids at a much higher rate. But for me, it was much more of like, hey, like I'm trying to get set up in life a little bit. Like I don't want to bring someone into the world and have them struggle right out the gate. Like I'm not interested in doing that to someone. And that's kind of the thing. Like I if I'm going to bring someone into the world, I want to be able to give them, options and a good life. Starting out, I want to have their starting line be further ahead than mine potentially was, let's say, or somebody else's. And that's what I think is difficult, is how am I going to sit here, be like, yeah, sure, let's pop a kid out when you're dealing with inflation and you're dealing with debt, or you're dealing with this, or you're dealing with that. And it's like, dude, like it's not endless. Like it's just not. And that's where I think it's like, okay, when we look at politics, we look at leaders around the world, like you can't just continue to do what suits you as a political leader.
I think politics plays a big part of it. But I think when I'm sitting here, like thinking about just the money over a lifetime. And then I think about some of our neighbors and friends here in Utah that have 4, 5, 6 kids. The expense of 4, 5, or 6 kids just in grocery money. Well, think about what you're paying for healthcare. Think about what you're paying for school clothes. Like it's enormous. And then you subtract that and think about the impact that's going to have on the economy. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That is.
I mean, legitimately, like, if you look at my situation, like, in order for me to have a kid, like, I gotta, like, my partner would have to change jobs. Like, there'd have to be more like she'd have to have the ability to watch our kid while I'm doing the show. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into having a kid.
Yeah, it becomes about them, not about you.
It's a load of responsibility. And it's not that I don't want to have a kid, but it's more about I want to be able to be in a position where I can say, okay, cool. Like like I have ways where I can make money that doesn't require me to go into an office, let's say, or like go way out of my way to do it. We have that ability right now.
Jesus, can you imagine 6 kids in daycare cost?
That's my point.
Oh my God.
So if
nah, dude,
if $220,000 in the state of Utah is what it takes to live reasonably, you're already starting to have to say, okay, well, how long is this state viable without kids? Like, if that's how expensive it's going to be.
I think,
you know what I mean? Like,
how long is our economy viable if people are going to stop having children?
To which I say, okay, maybe our problem isn't just the cost of houses, man. The problem is that we got to correct the cycle. We have to put a generation as soon as possible, and it's probably not millennials. It's probably not Gen Z, because it's too late already for them, but it's probably their kids, where we got to put their kids, even if it's less kids they're having, we got to put that generation in a prime position to be successful.
But look at China, like with children limiting how many kids you can have. And now all of a sudden that changed. And I hate to always go back to this and play the pandemic card, but you can't tell me the pandemic didn't have an impact on this.
Yeah. Well, I think the pandemic changed people's mentality.
Well, I think the pandemic stopped people from having sex. I think the pandemic changed the way that people went out and related with each other.
Yeah.
I think the way people dated. I think the way people work. Look at the controversies over going back to office now.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think there's just seismic change happening across the globe. I think you look at places like, dude, look at what's going on in Israel and Palestine.
Yeah.
Look at the wars that are being fought across this globe. You look at how many kids have died in Ukraine, in Palestine, in Iran, in Iraq. Like, you look at war-torn regions, and it's always it's not even the cost of the members of the military, it's the civilian casualties.
Yes.
And in places like Rafah, in places like Ukraine, there's a lot of kids being killed. Are you doing math on that and making sure that, hey, we got to replace them 2-1? You're not. So we've got pandemics, we've got global wars. I think we have a very secret poverty problem in this country and in this world.
Yes.
And I think
we just don't want to admit we have it. We just are in complete denial.
It's wild to me.
And what we're really in denial about is the fact that the average everyday American is suffering. Like, and I'm not saying I'm not complaining about being an American, but what I'm saying is right now in the economic conditions, your average Joe American is suffering because I'm telling you, the $70,000 job is a poverty job now. It is not enough money to barely live almost anywhere. To like 70 grand, you can get by on 70 grand in probably the Midwest, parts of the Midwest.
But you're not owning a home and raising children on 70,000.
No, you're not. You are barely taking care of you.
You
with
need
70,
public
000.
assistance at that point.
Yeah, like it's not cool. Like, so
maybe part of this is just a correction. Is correction the right word?
Correction in what sense?
At some point, we had to recognize that we had too many people living on this planet. Right? I mean, at some point. I mean, you look at what's going on with global warming. You look at what's going on in ecosystems. You look at what's going on. At some point, there were just too many of us.
Yeah.
And now I think our young people are not excited about being politicians. They're not excited about being cops, nurses, first responders, homeowners. You're not excited about that
because
stuff.
I don't think that young people have the opportunity to spend 10 years getting ready to do whatever job they're going to do. That's over with.
I agree.
You don't have like it's literally too expensive to build up to anything. You have to start making money ASAP.
I don't know. I also think there's a big part of this that is the change in philosophy on going to college. Because it used to be very systematic. Go to high school, go to college, especially for women when I think this is still true in a lot of corners of this world. Your job as a woman is, oh, you want to get an education? Okay, but when are we going to start having kids? Hey, how come you're not married yet? Yeah. Hey, your sister's married. All your friends are married. How come you're not married yet? And when are you going to start having kids? I need a grandkid. When are you going to start having, we still do that. Now, it's lesser than it was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, but that hasn't gone away. And now you're in a position where there's a lot of high school graduates who are like, nah, I'm not going to college. I'm going to Europe. I'm not going to college. I'm going to skateboard. I'm not going to college. I'm going to be a social media influencer.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a golfer. I'm going to be
yeah.
And I wish more of them would say, I'm going to be a union electrician. I'm going to be a union plumber.
But the problem is why the mentality is that why would I want to work that hard when I can make similar money doing whatever online?
And why do I want to live my entire adult life in debt?
Yeah.
If I go to 6 years of college, if I get a doctorate, a PhD, if I get a master's, you're 6 years in you're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Yeah.
And we
that's
don't
just casual.
Yeah.
That's just routine.
That's what people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not for that. I am not for that. I'm not for that at all. Richard McDonald, but let's build a new sports stadium for all the rubes who can't afford it. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Phenomenal Hebrew. Where have you been? Good to see you, my friend. Monty, you would make a good Rush Limbaugh in a film, by the way. Well, Thank you for that. I think probably not. School debt too. Yeah, school debt's ridiculous. Monty, Mike, I'm going to complain because the comment you made complaining about comments isn't a sports comment. How dare you? Are we really doing the why are you guys talking news? Look, we're just talking about life. That's what we do to end every show. It's not that anyone made conscious decisions to stop overpopulation. It boils down to life being unaffordable.
Yes.
I think there's a lot to that.
Yes.
That's smart. Big Daddy Magic. Hey, player, I blame Florida for the alligator problem in the panhandle. Okay. Always hate when that happens. Maybe our kids are just our new babies are being eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Loner Phone says Jake would have to work every Friday. Okay.
Yeah, well, here's what you're not
Another
realizing.
thing that he lost his shit about. Loner Phone was upset that we took Fridays off.
Here's what you're not realizing. I already work every Friday, bro.
Yeah. Unions made the bad jobs pay well. Without them, we are screwed. Well, I'm a supporter of unions. I am. I 100%. Global warming, Capazzo said, is a farce. Climate change is a spin on words. The climate changes every minute. Insert Al Gore claiming that Miami would have been underwater years ago. I think if you don't believe in climate change and global warming, I think you're probably not paying attention to science.
Yeah.
I mean, science is undefeated, as I always say.
I do agree that maybe some of the estimates about like when we would see things, okay, maybe those were
the scare tactics.
Yeah, like those were aggressive, but I think to say that climate change is not real is you just are not, I would agree, paying attention. With all due respect, dude, I love you, bro, but there's no doubt, dude.
Yeah, I mean, let's just Google search. Let's do an experiment. Is global warming real? 6 facts to quiet skeptics. And let's see. NASA. Okay, the government. NASA.
The government.
Human activities are driving the global warming trend observed since the mid-20th century. Okay, so NASA says that climate change is real.
Right.
So, okay. Let's look at the Rainforest Alliance. I'm going to say they're a little slanted, right?
Right.
Let's see the Whoa. Pop-up menu or pop-up. Climate change deniers claim this is the coldest winter we've had in years. So much for global warming. What they don't understand is that swings in the climate, swings in the change of season are all indicators, correct? Climate change is natural and normal. It happens at other points in history. Today, humans are emitting greenhouse gases at a far higher rate than any previous increase in history. Like, we can go back and forth.
I just think, look, man, it doesn't...
Science doesn't lie.
Lewis. With all due respect, bro, you're entitled to your opinion. I disagree with your opinion.
Yeah,
I think we're seeing real world, day-to-day examples of climate change. If you want to look at the strength and the veracity and, frankly, the frequency of this tornado season, you think that's an accident? You think it's an accident that this past...
Capazzo says we didn't go to the moon. Are we... Okay, so wait.
We're not doing this.
Are we doing the Kyrie flat earth thing?
No, serious question. Do you think the earth is flat, Lewis?
I've been fascinated by this. Oh, we didn't go to the moon and the earth is flat. Okay. I'm just not.
So the point is that
we have more people and we are emitting more greenhouse gases and fossil fuel emissions.
But let me bring this back home. So let's just meet in the middle and say, okay, maybe global warming isn't as bad as I think it is, but it's worse than you believe it to be. Right. So either way, when I look at, hey, well, where do I want to live? Because I know that life is expensive. I don't want to live somewhere where tomorrow my building could get ripped into a 25-mile radius by a tornado. I don't want to live somewhere where a hurricane's going to put 20 feet of water on my house. Right. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to deal with that.
I think that's why I go back to this population thing.
Yeah.
To put a bow on this.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing that the extremes are getting more extreme. And it's because we have so many more people on the earth that those people are driving, they're buying gas, they're consuming gas, they're creating exhaust. Like, there's no question. Like, look at the caps melting. Look at the, like, I think there has to be a correction in population. How that happens, what that looks like, I don't know. If you believe in flat Earth or you believe in global warming, okay, cool. I'm not saying you're wrong. We just disagree. It's fine. If you think the Earth is flat, if you think the Earth is flat, you're an idiot. I don't know that you're an idiot. I just don't think there's no science to back that up.
I don't think that you're if you think global warming is not real, if you think that the Earth is flat, like any of this science-based stuff, you're not looking at the numbers. You're not looking at like what data is telling us.
Yeah. It's tough. I hope it's not a real thing. I hope we don't get into a place where.
And by the way, what you should be saying as a denier of global warming is we're probably not going to see like planet meltdown mode happen anytime soon. That's what you should be saying. That's what your argument should be. Hey, in my lifetime, I don't have to care about this. Now that, in my opinion, is extremely selfish and lacks all perspective. But at least then I can be like, okay, well, I disagree with that. But, you're probably not wrong. We're probably not going to see the world end for a couple million years. But,
Yeah, it is what it is. All I'm saying is it's very interesting that birth rates are now below replacement for the first time since the 70s.
Yeah, and I think that we probably, to your point, probably won't see the real world effects of that for 10, 20 years. And the only question to me is going to be, okay, by the time those real world effects get here, what kind of place are millennials and Gen Xers in?
And I'm almost resigned to the fact that retirement is probably not possible for a lot of people my age. I'm resigned to that. I just think the world's is changing very much. Are we really debating flat Earth? Are there people here who believe that the Earth is flat?
All right, bro. I think we should go.
The Earth is not flat.
I think it's time to go.
The Earth. Why do you say that?
Because those are the kind of discussions that get too personal. And people get pissy
upset
about it. Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
All right. The Monty Show is always presented by our friends the Advocates. Jake's like, hell no, ejectocito, bro.
Yeah. I ain't here for that today.
Yeah. Don't make it personal. It's not personal. The Advocates at theadvocates.com. You get hurt at work today. I hope it doesn't happen, but you got to be prepared because it's usually when, not if. You go to the Advocates, theadvocates.com, where you can chat with an injury attorney live online 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow.
The Earth is round. Goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.